Kia ora, welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at SculptGL, which is a free online browser-based sculpting software for 3D sculpting that is, as I said, fully free. It is browser-based and there's no sign-up or logins required, so the barrier to entry is absolutely minimal. You can use this anywhere that has access to the internet. You can reach SculptGL in any browser just by typing in SculptGL, all one word, and having a search. And it's usually this first website that pops up. So we'll click on that one there. So let's take a look now at what this program is capable of. Jumping in, first of all, you can see I have this 3D viewport here with a nice big sphere sitting in the middle on top of this grid. And we're going to take a look at how we can navigate this 3D viewport. So to begin, if I right click and hold the right mouse button and move my mouse around, you can see this allows me to rotate the camera, just like so. Very easy. If I let go of the mouse button and instead I'm going to use my middle mouse button this time, so clicking and holding the middle mouse button, you can see this allows me to pan the camera. Okay, and so if I use this in combination with the right mouse button, it allows me to sort of move around my model, walk around it and look at it from different sides. Well, at the moment, there's not a lot to look at because we don't have any details on this model, but we'll get to that very soon. The last option for moving the camera is the mouse wheel. So if we roll the mouse wheel or scroll, this allows us to zoom in and out. So between these three, you should be able to look at your model in close detail or zoom out to see it and see the full model all at one time. Very useful. Okay. Now let's jump straight into the fun part and take a look at some sculpting tools. Now this is really easy. At the moment we have the brush tool selected, and to use this all we need to do is left click on our model and start moving our mouse around. So take a look at that. Very simple. And if we right click to take a look from a different angle, you can see this is actually pulling the digital clay out from the surface. So we can do that any way we want. Just carry on clicking and moving the brush around, and it's really quite intuitive. Does exactly what you'd expect. Okay, so while we're at it, let's take a look at some of these settings. So we have the radius. If we turn this up, you can see I get a bigger brush, which is going to give me a greater effect. All right, I can turn it down and get a more localized effect where I can get small details and things if I'd like to. Okay, we also have an intensity setting over here. So I can turn this all the way up and you'll notice that that makes a much greater impact on the surface, pulling it out much further. Or I can pull this all the way down and you'll see that it has a very sort of subdued effect. So I have to click a whole lot of times to get any result at all. Awesome. So those are the main ones. You can see there's some hotkeys there as well. So I could hold X and move my mouse left and right to change this in the viewport. Likewise, if I hold C, you can see I can move that up and down. So that's quite useful. All right, there is a tick box here for negative. You can also see that we have Alt as an option for that. So if I hold Alt, you can see instead of bulging the clay out of the surface, I'm instead digging a hole into the surface, which can be really useful. So Alt, or you can turn it on like this, and then it's just going to happen automatically. Fantastic. These other options I don't really find super useful, but there is one down here called symmetry, and if I turn that off, you'll notice that I only affect one side. Generally, when we're making 3D models of characters and things, it pays to have symmetry on, just to make it so that you're not doubling your effort if you're going to sculpt something that is supposed to be symmetrical. So here we go. Next up, I'm going to show smoothing. So smoothing, there is actually a separate tool for this. If I click on where it says tool, I can change to the smooth brush, but you can see there's another hotkey here as well. So instead of changing to the smooth brush, I can just hold shift in whatever brush I'm currently using. And this is going to be like applying sandpaper to the surface. It just nicely smooths out any bumpy bits and makes it into a nice and gradual transition between peaks and troughs. Awesome. So that's smoothing. Let's take a look at some of these other brushes that can be really useful, or other tools rather. So if we click on where it says tool, we can come down, and the first one I want to show off is drag. So if we click on drag works quite differently from the brush tool. Basically, the way drag works is it's going to take our camera angle, and whatever we do to the surface, it's going to pull that out. Okay, so let's have a look. If I click over here, and I can pull my mouse down to the right, and it's going to do that based on the camera. So if I do that in a front view instead, you can see, yeah, we get a different result. So if I want to give it a nose or something, maybe we can come through a side view, maybe use a small brush. So I'm going to hold X and make a small brush. Go to a side view, and we can go and grab like a bit like this. There we go. Getting some weird looking face. Excellent. Let's take a look at another tool now. We've got the crease tool here, and I find the crease tool is really useful for laying down landmarks. Okay, so if I want to figure out where the mouth would be, I can make something that sort of is a placeholder for the mouth using this crease tool. We are getting some kind of weird results through here, and I'll quickly explain why that's happening. If I push W, this will activate my wireframe, and you can see that all of my faces through this area are getting a little bit stretched. If you want to undo a change like this that you've made, so I've used the Sculpt tool, or the crease tool rather, and it's given me a result that I'm not really that happy with, I can just push Control Z to undo that. I can do it a couple of times. Oh, and if you want to redo a change, there is another option for that as well. It's Control Y, so I can bring my nose back. There we go. Very good. So just to quickly explain why that crease tool wasn't working so well, you can see these faces through here going kind of in a different direction, and they're getting a little bit more stretched. So when I try and create this crease, it's not really working. So in a moment, I'll talk about a way we can remedy that, but for now, we're just going to live with it. We'll just do a change like this. We'll do a crease, and then I can also just use a bit of shift to smooth that out. Okay, and I might push W to get rid of that, get rid of the wireframe. All right, so we'll live with this ugliness for now. Just using that crease tool to land a landmark. So when I lay in these landmarks, I like to go through and sort of adjust them using something like that drag tool. Okay, so I can use a large brush size with the drag tool, and using this landmark, I can now figure out how I'd like this mouth to look. And then I can hit this with some smooth as well. Let's have a look at another area we could make a landmark for. We could have a look at these eyes. Maybe we could do something eye-shaped like this. You can see the crease tool is kind of like hitting the surface with a knife. We're getting a nice crisp sort of edge. There we go. Maybe something like that. And now that we've got the landmark there, we can use the drag tool to sort of adjust it and get it looking a bit more like how I'd like. Very cool. Maybe we can bring these eyes forward a little bit, make them protrude slightly. You can see that by having the crease tool there, it makes it a lot easier for me to work with that area. Awesome. Okay, so that's the crease tool. Let's take a look at the inflate tool now. This one can be really useful if you've got like areas like this nose that maybe you want to make them a bit bigger. Maybe I want to make this nose wider overall. So the inflate tool is going to be like blowing up this area like a balloon. So I can hit it a few times, and you can see that just like a balloon, we start to get things that are sort of overlapping. I could hit the mouth area with that as well. And yeah, gives a pretty interesting result. So I like to use these tools in combination with a bit of smoothing. And we come back through and just use the shift option to smooth that out a little bit. Excellent. Smooth. Very good.